Ben, it's exactly 8 o'clock now. Can you please check for Senator Shehu Sani? It's raining dogs and cats in Lagos this evening. Dr. Abati, is it raining at your end?
Yes, well, it is raining also here.
Oh, wow.
But I see that I'm muted by the host.
No, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You are not muted.
Okay.
Yes. No one can mute you. I'm set here. Let me find out from Senator. It says his password has been saying incorrect password, but it's the same thing I'm using.
Yeah, if never sure, you are not yet on YouTube.
We're on YouTube. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Dr. Abati, it seems there is a lot of empty space. I don't know if it's to your right or to your left now. Yes, a lot of empty space. Okay, I think...
Okay now?
No, you still need to centralize a bit. No, you need to... No, that's too far. Please go back the other way. Okay, and then if your seat can go higher or your camera can go lower. Ben, have you seen Senator now? He seems to be having problem with his password. I don't know why.
No, sir. The password is Dele in small letters.
I didn't use any password. If you click on the link, it should take you straight into Zoom.
I think the Zoom is clear.
Yeah, the Zoom is, yes. But I don't know why it seems to, I don't know what device is using. The original Otumba, how are you?
The Bashoro of the world.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Same here. Ruben, my brother. Good evening, sir. Who am I speaking with?
That's Otumba Bimbo Ashiru. The original Otumba.
Otumba Bimbo Ashiru. My brother Ruben Abati. How are you? I saw you the other day, 2 days ago. Yes, I was there. When we were talking to Bashoro, to Professor Akintoye. Yes. I was looking for you yesterday. I didn't see you. I was flying. I just got to London. I was in America. I just got to London this morning, and I said I must not miss this one.
Oh, thank you.
It's good to see you again. And Bashoro was supposed to be with us at a school meeting. Your son, Folabi.
Yes, I know. We're just... Oh, fantastic. Ben, any luck with Senator? Ben, 5 minutes gone already. Thank you so much, Otumba. Thank you. Ben, can you find Senator now? I was chatting with him just now.
It's actually on. No, it's on. Bashoro. It's the one in iPhone X with the card.
Okay. Ben, can you see him? Ben has switched off like NEPA. Ben.
I've seen him. I'm searching for you. I'll bring him on now.
And so always respond quickly. Okay?
Okay, sir.
My distinguished brother, how are you?
I'm fine and good.
This your cap is serious, oh. Are we able to have a bit more light on your face? It would be nice to see your very handsome face. Don't hide
You see
it.
me now?
We're seeing you, but the light is not bright enough.
Oh. You know, Kaduna is going on protest strike tomorrow, so the lights are
What is the strike about again?
about the sack of Kaduna state workers. The labor are going on strike.
Oh, wow. May the good Lord be with the good people of Kaduna State. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, oh, it's a pleasure. So, Dr. Ruben Abati is going to take your introduction. Then I will fire the questions and you will fire the answers, as always. And then Dr. Ruben Abati will encapsulate everything at the end of the session. So, Dr. Ruben, please, let's have the introduction.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and it's good to see you again, Senator Shehu Sani, and also Dele Momodu. We have less than 24 hours now.
Less than 4 hours. Less than 4 hours.
Oh, less than 4 hours actually to your, the 61st birthday. And in the last 3 days, we've been having this leadership and governance series focusing on Nigeria, the future of Nigeria, the key national issues. And as I said previously in previous episodes, I think you've chosen a great way, a very worthy manner of celebrating your 61st birthday, wrapping it around ideas and how ideas are important to national progress, and how ideas and exchange of views, conversations, public opinion can move a country forward. At a principled level, at a philosophical level, I think that this is very commendable. And in the last 3 days, you've chosen some of the key figures in Nigerian history and key figures in the contemporary process in Nigeria. Professor Banji Akintoye, leader of the movement for self-determination in Yoruba land. You've chosen Femi Falana, SAN, a public intellectual and a great advocate for civil liberties with a long history of distinction in that direction. You've chosen also Ulisa Bakoba, SAN, founder of the Civil Liberties Organization, CLO, founder of AfroNet, even in Gambia, and one of the leading lawyers in human rights litigation and maritime law in Nigeria. And this evening, you have brought for us another great Nigerian from across the Nigeria, from the northern part of Nigeria, Senator Comrade Shehu Sani. Comrade Shehu Sani is very well known to all Nigerians as a freedom fighter, as an activist, as a human rights defender, as a man who believes in freedom, justice, and peace, and who has the courage of his convictions, and who does not look at your ethnicity or the color of your skin before he speaks his mind. The last time I met Senator Shehu Sani was somewhere in Uweri, in Imo State, where he and I have been invited to speak to an Igbo audience about the future of Nigeria and what needs to be done. And I was shocked that day. I was surprised. at the level of reception that he got from Igbo people. I mean, they didn't look at the color of his skin. They didn't look at the language he spoke. It didn't matter to them where he came from. They saw in him a patriot in Nigeria, and he did not disappoint them. And we had a very good session on that. And since then, I've also seen that Igbo people, Yoruba people, they've been inviting him to come and speak about Nigeria. He proves one example, which means that there are good people everywhere. It's not about ethnicity. It's about the truth. It's about your commitment. It's about your courage. So this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we have the privilege of having a man who is a bridge builder. And if you doubt me, you only need to check his Twitter account in the last 1 hour. In the last 1 hour, he himself alluded to one of the things I noticed on his Twitter account, where he has over 1.6 million followers from all parts of the world. And this evening alone, he has tried to defend the right of trade unions in Kaduna State, people in Kaduna State who are fighting for their rights. He moved from there. He talked about the protest in Oshogbo by the Yoruba group led by Sunday Igboho, and he was defending the unity of Nigeria. So, in other words, he's not a nihilist. He's a man who believes in Nigeria. Like the gentleman we had yesterday, Olisa Bakoba, SAN, and before him, Femi Falana, SAN, and before him, Professor Banji Akintoye. All the guests we have had this week have been saying, look, Nigeria is not working. But they do not believe in the dismemberment of Nigeria. And all three of them, that we have had, and now Senator Shehu Sani, I don't know what he will say this evening. He may say something different. But as at 1 hour ago, he was saying that, look, the unity of Nigeria is very important. Yesterday, one of the issues that came up was engagement of Nigerians. And this evening, on his Twitter page, Senator Shehu Sani was also saying that, look, whatever they say about the constitutional amendment, people must show interest. You must engage with your country. You must show interest in how your country is governed. So we have seen this week a strain, an imagined conversation, with people from different parts of the country, from different parts of Nigeria, all trying to create an elite consensus that is missing. This evening also, as I read Senator Shehu Sani's Twitter handle, he was also talking about Femi Adesina, comparing Nigeria to Man City, the Buhari administration to Man City and the English Premier League. And he was saying, no, compare it to the Nigerian Premier League. Focus on what is happening in Nigeria and let us focus on our reality. So this is the kind of gentleman that we have before us this evening. I've tried to use his tweets and his followers, over 1.6 million this evening, as a way of introducing him. So this is a tribalized Nigerian, a man who believes in progress, who believes in fairness, who believes in equity, who believes in justice. Now, he was born 1970, right? I hope I got, no, 1967. In Tudunwada, 1967, 29th of October, 1967, in Tudunwada in Kaduna State. He went to Government Day Secondary School in Niger State. From there, he went to Government Science Secondary School in Kangara, also in Niger State. You recall students of Kangara Government Science Secondary School were abducted recently, and he was one of those persons who carried the banner. Not necessarily because he's an alumnus of that school, but I guess because in any other circumstance, he would do the same for Nigerians under distress. He later attended Kaduna Polytechnic, and Kad Poly, as you remember, is one of the famous institutions in this country at a time for the radical politics of the students of that generation. This was at a time when the intellectual space in that part of northern Nigeria was led by the likes of Bala Usman, Balarabe Musa, Abubakar Rimi, people who promoted radical politics, and Aminu Kano, and also the People's Redemption Party, the Northern Elements Progressive Union, and Madam Shehu Sani fitted into that tradition. In ABU at the time, they had those they called the Balabrothers. Okay, he ended up with an HND was in the forefront of the process there. He was social director of the Students' Union there. He was leader of the African Students' Union across Africa. So he got nurtured at Katpoli, but even then his process began at home. His father, who worked, within the media, and who was, a publisher and a printer, was also part of that ideological process. So Senator Shehu Sani was brought up on a heavy dose of Marxist-Leninist literature because his father kept a very rich library. And I think that there's a lesson there for all parents. I see many middle-class persons today. They don't even have a library. You go to many middle-class homes, the only thing you see fanciful cars. You see the parents trying to impress their children with money. But Shehu Sani was a product of a different tradition where parents, instill values in their children, try to teach them to read. So he grew up in a house where there was a library, and I've argued. I can see a library behind Dele. I think every home of anybody who considers himself a serious-minded person should have a library because it can affect your children. So here you have Senator Shehu Sani, who grew up reading, who grew up in an intellectual environment. His father was not Aliko Dangote of the time. His father was not Femi Otebola of the time. They had an intellectual environment around him that nurtured him. He also had a mother who was a community leader. And all of that, I guess, has molded him. All of that has molded him into the man that he became. Now, what kind of man did he become? He became a fighter for justice. He became a fighter for freedom. Beyond the Kaduna Polytechnic, he became a member of the Campaign for Democracy in Nigeria with Ulisa Bakoba, Decoras of Kuti, Femi Falana, and co. But he paid dearly for that. The Babangida administration threw him into detention. He was in detention in various parts of the country. When the Abacha government took over, he was also again arrested and detained and sentenced to life imprisonment. And what was his offense? For being a member of a group called Campaign for Democracy. And what was Campaign for Democracy's offense? They wanted the actualization of the June 12, 1993 election won by Chief Emiko Abiola. Shehu Sani was one of the leading lights in the North that stood up, that did not look at ethnicity, but stood on the side of principle and said, look, June 12 must be actualized. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, but eventually all of that was committed and he was released. And beyond that period, he has remained in the struggle. And he tried to join the Alliance for Democracy. He lost the election. He joined what is that party again? The party of the sitting president now.
CPC.
He also lost the election now.
CPC.
The Congress of Progressive Change. He lost the election, but he kept at it. In 2015, he won the election on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. And he was a senator of Nigeria from 2015 to 2019. But even then, as a member of the Senate and as chairman of the Public Debts Committee and also as chairman of another committee, he was very vocal, he was very critical, and he refused to accept the chicanery that was going on in his own constituency, either in Kaduna Central or in the entire Kaduna State, where he has had to pay a price for that. In 2019, all the forces that be, the godfathers that he refused to worship, made sure that they got him out of power. And they threw everything of the state at him, including accusing him of a certain $25,000 that nobody has been able to prove. Here we have before us, ladies and gentlemen, this evening, a man of courage, a man of conviction, a man who has struggled through every effort to devalue him, to discredit him, and he remains out there in the forefront. The only part of it that I think maybe Dele Momodu will have to ask him this evening is how he also suddenly added to his various credentials the snake charmer's credentials, because when they said the snake swallowed money in I think it's Jam. He went there, he said he would help them to look for the snake that stole the money. Above all, Senator Shehu Sani is also a writer. I've read many of his books. He's also a poet. He has done 2 books of poetry. He has also written 2 plays. He's prolific. And I hope that at some time in the future, some people will focus on his intellectual productivity as a writer, because that is also, and Dele Momodu, who has a master's in literature in English, will be interested in. He has written on corruption, he has written on dictatorship, he has written on several other subjects of concern, not just in Nigeria, but also in Africa. So I'm excited having a dear brother in the struggle, Senator Shehu Sani, joining us this evening. And on behalf of all of you, and on behalf of Dele Momodu, who is going to throw a party tomorrow, I hope, after all this intellectual talk since Tuesday, I welcome Senator Shehu Sani. My brother, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
And thank you for that very long introduction. I appreciate that, and I hope we have a good session.
Thank you, Senator Shehu Sani. Thank you, Dr. Ruben Abati, PhD. It's not for fun that I invited you to do the introductions, and you've done justice to them. We live in a country where people no longer know their history, and I'm sure a lot of people just hear Shehu Sani, but they don't know where he's coming from. They just think he just joined politics and he became a senator, and that is all. But I can tell you that this is not an Owambe, a feel-good senator. He's a man who earned his dues. He worked very, very hard. We've been friends for years, and I remember, Senator, that you were the first person to alert me. I got a call from you years back. You alerted me about this Boko Haram menace, and you gave some suggestions. You wanted me to intervene at that time. But unfortunately, it seems the government was not ready to listen to people like us, because at the beginning, we believed it was something that we could curtail before it boomeranged. Unfortunately, it has exploded in our faces, and as they say, only God can rescue us now. So it's good to have you finally on this platform. The other 3 discussants we've had, Professor Banji Akintoye. So I wanted to correct Dr. Abachi there, that Professor Banji Akintoye has given up on Nigeria. The other 2, Olisa Agbakoba SAN, Femi Falana SAN, they still believe Nigeria can be rescued, but with the caveat that if care is not taken, and the principal actors, what we call dramatis personae in literature, if they don't take care, then we might be forced to go that route, which will be very unfortunate. So I have an idea of your beliefs, but I'm not going to preempt that. I'm just going to ask you questions like I asked all the other people. I'm going to start from politics tonight. When you joined CPC, what were your ideals, if I may ask?
Well, thank you very much for having me, and I wish you a happy birthday in advance. And I wish I would be part of that celebration, but unfortunately we are stuck here in Kaduna. Well, I actually, when we came out of prison in 1998, we were divided in the sense that some people believe that we should join the transition program of Abdusalam Abubakar, and there are those in the school of thought that thought that the democratic experiment would not last, and those who think the latter carried the day, and we hesitated from joining the political process, and then an opportunity came for those forces who did not fight for democracy to simply occupy space, capture power, and dominate the political platform for which we are still struggling to get out in the last 2 decades. So after the wrong decision we took in 1999, and I decided that I should participate by contesting elections. So in the North, I first joined the Alliance for Democracy, and which was like an offshoot of NADECO after the struggle. And then later, when that party never showed any strong presence in the North, then I joined the CPC, and on the advice of my people that is a party we should all join in order to get elected into office. And I joined, I contested, and I lost that election. And I moved on to contest again under APC when there was a merger. And I was happy that merger happened, because now it became a platform to link up with my comrades in the Southwest and other part of the country, and then we worked together, and I won the 2015 election. So my journey to CPC is more or less studying the political atmosphere in my own part of the country and see where it's going to be easier for people to vote, because naturally, if you are aspiring for political position, you also not just think about yourself, but you have to look at the perception, the thinking, the direction of those people who you are going to represent, where they are moving to, and then you now try to synergize. So that is simply what formed me to join the CPC at that time.
Now, I doubt if there is any northerner as popular as Major General Muhammadu Buhari retired. I doubt. I don't know. You'll be able to tell us. What was the fascination of the North for General Buhari?
Well, this is still a subject of research, in the sense that before Buhari, there was an Aminu Kano that has a similar fanatical following, if not more than even that of Buhari. But I think what has endeared Buhari into the hearts of the people of the North was, first of all, I can say that there was an incident that happened sometimes in the early period of Obasanjo's administration, where the Sharia issue became a controversial national issue. And then Buhari, and there was a discussion or no discussion at the Council of State. And then Buhari now came up and in a BBC interview and aligned himself with the thinking that people have the right to establish their own Sharia system. And from that time, like a fire was lit in the hearts of people. And they now see in the North people who can, someone who can at least speak for them. And again, he also been, secondly, he has been seen to be one of the most honest leaders, because we have had series of leaders that were accused of looting the treasury of the country. And being a man who has lived about for 4 decades in Kaduna, and people have seen his prudent lifestyle and how he makes up with people, and also speak about issues concerning people. That also now added to the fanaticism of Buhari. The third aspect of it has to do with the fact that people were disenchanted with the political establishment at that time, and they need a leader to rally around whom they believe is not within that system, because there are other leaders in the north, of course, who are political, like Momodu'S. But you will have supported, you will have expected people to be fanatical about Momodu'S and not Buhari. But now they choose Buhari because they see him as an uncompromising figure, one who will stand up to the establishment and represent their passion, their interest, their own thinking. So they move along that line, supporting him, voting for him, and anybody who identifies himself with him. But all along, he could not be by himself be the president until he aligned himself with forces from the south, and specifically from the southwest. And that now provided the opportunity for him to be the president. So I can say the attraction has been an event that happened in the early 2000s, and then his own lifestyle, and the belief that he is like a new Aminu Kano to the people of the north. Yes.
I once came to Kano for the wedding of Aliko Dangote's daughter, the first wedding. And General Muhammadu Buhari drove into Kano that day, and everything came to standstill. Even governors could not enter the mosque because the poor people, the Almajiris on the roads, they were just, in fact, to move became a problem. So, he was seen as a champion of the poor. Would you say, in your honest opinion, that he's been able to justify the love that they had for him?
Well, you see, a lot of people have found it strange that the man is so much love, they were prepared to die for, and they indeed died for, because hundreds of people were killed because of him as a result of what came up after elections and other things. And Buhari's popularity has risen to the point of worship, that people, anyone here had or criticizing him will be as if he is blaspheming or committing a sacrilege in the north. But as time goes on, the Buhari that they knew as an opposition figure become a different Buhari after in power, for the reasons that himself, so many things that he has a simplistic idea of. Simplistic idea, like if you solve corruption, everything will be solved. If you love people, everything will be done. If you do A plus B, 2 plus 2 equals to 4, then in power, he is confronted with the realities of Nigeria. And many things have contributed now to the fact that he has firstly lost that popularity, that virility, that fanaticism has faded as a result of a number of factors. One is the fact that Buhari either underestimated the problem of Nigeria or overrated his capacity and that of his team to address the problems of Nigeria. And now, when he found himself in the position of power, he now has to find himself associated with those very forces that he has spent the 12 years of his life fighting. For example, now, if we said the PDP destroyed Nigeria for 16 years, we will find out that from the governors of APC are all from PDP. Most of the ministers in his cabinet are all from PDP. Most of the strategies of his government are all, mostly of them from PDP, except those like Tinubu and others who come from the southwest. So in the governors of the north that are APC today, is only perhaps that of Borno and Yobe that were never from PDP. So he found himself having to work with the devils that he has spent so much of his life fighting. And then you can see the gallery of contradiction as for what he said before he became the president and what he's doing as a president. For example, he has asked, he wants to know who is subsidizing who, and then you find his government subsidizing more than any other government in the history of this country. You find him questioning issues that have to do with corruption, and then you find it also prevalent in his government. You find him questioning the value of the Naira as an opposition figure. You will see that Naira has slipped down to the lowest of low in the history of this country in his own government. You find him raising issues about human rights as an opposition figure, and then you find his government violating fundamental rights of citizens, sometimes denying, sometimes suppressing protest with force. So many things which he dreamt of, was fighting and dreamt of realizing as a leader, he found himself having to toe that line and perhaps even find himself in a worse situation. He was raising issues about how could a government have lasted long and able to address security challenges of Boko Haram. Now under his government, you see Boko Haram still fighting, you see banditry, you see herdsmen, you see crisis in all parts of the country. So this and so many things, their idealistic view of him, their simplistic view of him, they never saw him as a leader, as an elected leader. They saw him as a messiah, and he also presented himself as a magician. So all these things come together, and then he now faces the reality of power. And when they found out that he was not the magician they thought he is, and he is not the messiah that can save them from all problems and solve all problems with a twinkle of an eye or a snap of a finger, certainly then they are now withdraw back from their fanaticism about him and now scrutinizing him like any other leader in our history.
Wow. You are one of the few people that I believe could tell us about the genesis and metamorphosis of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Could you please give us your view?
Well, if you remember the time so many years ago when I called you at that time when that issue was at its infancy, where it was local grievances about a preacher who appears and who is being arrested, persecuted, and then suddenly the trigger of Boko Haram has to do with the killing of the leader of that group. And then the group moved from simply an extremist organization to a terror group against security apparatus of the state. And then after that, they graduated further to attacking anything that has to do with establishment, with government, or with the state. And then at that time, it could have still been curtailed, but the very moment that group now evolved into one that has a global connection to international terror organization, then it becomes difficult. It simply becomes an affiliate. And now what even compounds everything is that it's not just Boko Haram that is a terror group, you know. You have the ISWAP, which is a splinter from Boko Haram, and then you have the Ansarudin, which is another section of Boko Haram that have had their own command. And then now in the northwest, now you have also bandits operating with such ferocity and lethal force. So this is a brief explanation on narrative on the evolution of that group from what it was to what it has become today. And it is easier to dialogue with the group when it was a national organization, terror group, with local grievances and issues. But now, since it has become a branch of a bigger organization outside of Nigeria, that becomes more difficult.
If you were Buhari, what would you do right now?
On what issue? Because
on the insecurity issue. That's the biggest problem we have right now.
Well, first of all, if I am the president, I would look for solution outside of my own political party, because one of the problems they have today in their own kind of the way they operate this government is that, first of all, before they listen to you, before they give you a listening ear and reason with some positions and advice and ideas you give them, you must come from their own political cycle. If you are not there, if you are a Donald Duke that has an idea, they don't want to listen to it. If you are a Femi Falana that has an idea, they don't want to listen to it. If you are a Ruben Abati, they don't want to listen to it. They want somebody who comes from their own cycle who will give them advice whether it's right or wrong. So that's the problem. So you have to see the problem as a national problem. And even Igbo man or Yoruba man or any man who is from any political party, even if he's a critic and can make his contribution, you simply have to listen to him. So they have to solve that problem because they have that mentality. Secondly, what needs to be done is that you have to divide these groups into two. Those that are prepared to return back to the society and live in peace with with the rest of our citizens, they should be accommodated. And those that are not prepared for that, we should be ready to battle them, to fight them, to crush them. Now, what is important here is that use of technology is very important. If you are moving from Kaduna to Abuja, it's about 150 to 60 kilometers. There are about 37 villages there. Why don't you have at least a drone station in Suleja that will oversee what is happening in Niger State and Kaduna State? There is none. We are still operating a system where security established checkpoint. They stop you to tell you to on your light or open the boot of your car and flash torch light on your face. How can you use that ideas to fight terrorism? That's very much impossible to do. Secondly, he made a mistake by keeping service chiefs for so many years who have been unable to address the system and now give it so much time to extend. And they entrench themselves in the belief that they are there to protect him and his government and have not solved any problem. So address the problem by the use of technology, address the problem by removing nepotism in the system where you have a certain section of the country dominating the security apparatus of the state. And for that reason, whether they are competent or not, the problem will naturally continue to linger. The third aspect of it is to ensure that those arms of the state that are involved in this war are well funded and well equipped. The Minister of Finance recently told us that she has funded the military to the point of 1.08 trillion naira in 24 or 28 months. And then the same military have been going to the president to collect what they call special approvals. Now, with all this money pumped in to our security and defense apparatus, and we are able to fight and crush bandits, herdsmen, and terrorists in our country, which shows that throwing money has not been the problem, the solution. And despite all these funds that have been put in place, the soldiers on the ground have been crying and protesting about lack of weapons, lack of equipment to fight. And so many of them are even in prison for protesting. So corruption has been endemic in the security apparatus of the state, which needs to be addressed. So the problem for Buhari is that use technology. 21st century battle must be fought with 21st century technology. Secondly, there must be diversification and ensure that the security apparatus of the state, the heads of those agencies, do not represent any ethnic or religious group, but are ones that are here to defend Nigeria as a whole. And the third aspect of it has to do with, we must ensure that funds that are released to our security apparatus are actually used for the purchase of weapons and equipment, for them to be fought, for them to be used in our battle. Yes.
Wow. There has been this conspiracy theory over the years, even before President Buhari got this power eventually, that there is an Islamization and Fulanization agenda. How do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, I'm not aware of the existence of such an agenda. But if those who are raising that issue are basing their facts on what they have seen on the ground, if you have a president or a government that has tilted appointments to one section of the country, certainly anyone who makes that submission can actually use that as an evidence. But if the level of insecurity is used as the basis to make that submission, I can say it is wrong. Because the Fulani bandits, the bandits that are from Fulani ethnic group that have been killing, are not only constituting a deadly force in the southern part of Nigeria, but they are also doing worse in the north. If actually they are an army for Fulanization, they couldn't have constituted themselves into a dangerous little force for us in the northwest particularly. In Kaduna today, I cannot, as we are conducting this interview here, I cannot attempt to go to outskirts of the town anytime from 6 to 7 p.m. I will end up in the hands of kidnappers. So thousands of our villagers have sold their farms and homes to pay ransom. The bandits have become an authority unto themselves. So if actually there is a Fulanization agenda, I think it can be supported by the fact that his appointment has been lopsided, but not that there is an army that is determined to ensure such that happen. In as much enhancement constitutes a serious problem to the people in the south, east, and southwest, they are also a problem to people in Benue, in Plateau, in Zamfara, in Katsina, and in Kaduna State.
Okay. Now, do you think education could have helped the North? You have produced majority of the leaders in Nigeria at the presidential level. Why is it so difficult to educate the people? The last 6 years, for example, don't you think maybe if Buhari had invested more interest, not money now, because everything is not about money, showing interest in the education of the Almajiris, like President Jonathan tried to do, don't you think this would have made some difference?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, northern leaders have failed the North over the years. They have not utilized the opportunity and power to develop the region, to educate the region, to industrialize the region. Many of them have turned power as a personal property and then use it to dominate the poor people, the Talakawas in the North, and enrich themselves. I have never seen, you read on paper that oil blocks have been allocated to most people in the North, and then you ask yourself, where has that oil block been used to development? I know of a former minister who is late, who was reported to have had an oil block, but he never had any foundation for helping anybody and never impacted on the lives of anyone. So you can...
Oh, we lost your audio, please. We lost your audio, if you can hear me. We lost your audio. We lost your audio. Ben, can you check? Please, Ben.
It has not...
Okay, you are back now.
In addressing the problems of poverty, of disease, of destitution, of want, of penury, and all sorts of social vices that we have used to address the problems in our country. And they have weaponized poverty. They love that rank-and-daddy mentality, where one person has money and poor people line up outside his house and worship him for that kind of money which he has. And that has led to the expansion of, the increase of poverty in northern Nigeria, which is unfortunate.
Wow. The way you speak truth to power, do you see many northern leaders speaking truth to themselves and accepting this blame? That look,
well,
we cannot blame others for our problems.
Well, in the last few years, it was impossible for any northern leader to speak truth to power, because speaking truth to power at that time is to speak truth to the Buhari administration. It is impossible because you'll be lynched by common people who literally worship him. But now, as the reality has set in, and that people are seeing the stupidity of this kind of zombie followership, many northern leaders are now speaking out. After all, the Northern Elders Forum, the Arewa Consultative Forum, in the beginning of this government, in the early 2015, were all in support of Buhari, and everything he does is right, everything he does is in order. But now you see leaders who were yesterday sycophantic, pliant, compliant, submissive, and subservient to everything the government does or says, are now saying no, things are not going well. And I think that is something which I appreciate, particularly with the Southwest. When Shonekan was brought in as a replacement to Abiola, he is a man from Abeokuta, he is an Egba. The Yorubas will have rallied around and said, we are with him. After all, Abiola is also Yoruba. But they said no. The governors at that time of that SDP refused to even attend to his invitation. So you can see that is a very good thing. And then secondly, when Obasanjo came into office, any protest, any strike action against that government is more compliant in the Southwest than in other parts of Nigeria. So you can see how a people can stand up against their own. It's something which other parts of Nigeria, not just North, should also learn. The South did not even do that. Even during the South, Jonathan's committed no fault as far as they are concerned. And it's something that's happening in the North today. But so many things have changed the mentality of Northerners to know that it doesn't matter because the man in power is from your ethnic group, from your religion, he can still fail you. And for you to get what you deserve, or what you deserve, you need to stand up and fight for it. So as far as this issue is concerned, this is my little contribution.
What makes you so confident to speak the way you speak? Because it's like blasphemy.
Well, for anyone who knows our history, we have not started speaking truth to power when in 2021 or 2020. But nowadays, it is not unusual. When you criticize government, it is either they said it's because you have not been given contract, or because you lost election, or because they are not carrying you along, or because you wanted position you are not given. There must be something to be attached to you. Or if you speak, they say it's because the man in power is not your party, or because the man is not bringing you along. But for anybody who knows who we are and our own history, and it's not difficult nowadays, just need to Google. We spoke truth to power during military regime when it was dangerous, fierce, harmful, and delirious for one to do it. Under Babangida, we spoke truth to power. Under Abacha, we spoke truth to power. And to Obasanjo and subsequent government. So we will continue to do that as far as we are alive. If you, wherever you have a Pharaoh, you will also have a Moses. And I believe that people should have that courage to speak, because this is not the first time. Even Buhari was once a critic who has spoken out against the excessiveness and excesses of different governments in the past. What is surprising to people is that he is a person differently from the one they used to know. So what we are doing is in line with our ideology, with our principle. And for those of us who come from the NEPU, PRP pedigree, knew very well that we have always spoken truth to power in the line of the thinking of Malam American.
The APC federal government has refused to interact, to interface with the people of Nigeria. And this has led to serious frustration on the part of the people. So, how come you are uncomfortable with those who are saying, look, if you are not going to talk to us, if we can't dialogue, we can't restructure, we can't have a peaceful referendum, let us go. So, why do you think they cannot go?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, for people of my own political thinking and ideology, I cannot imagine myself in a country where I will lose friends like you, like Falana. Because if I am in trouble now, the first person that will come to my aid is Falana. And so many of you who are from down there. So each time you want to go, you apply for divorce. People like me will make sure that paper never see the light of the day. We want you to be with us. We can't afford to get a visa to go to Ibadan or whatever. But to be, are you still together?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay. So as far as I'm concerned, people like me believe in the unity of this country. I'm not just a believer in unity of this country. I'm also a believer, I'm a Pan-Africanist, and a Pan-Africanist who thinks of an Africa without the colonial boundaries, will not think of now carving it further. But there are a lot of things that need to be done. You can't hold a country together. It is not the national flag that holds a country. It's justice. It's not the national anthem that holds the country. It's justice. It's not the national anthem that holds the country. It's justice. If you have a new leadership that is patriotic, nationalistic, and also addressing the contentious problem that confronts Nigerian state, I believe the agitation for secession will naturally fizzle out. And I am always talking directly to even those who want to secede. I will tell them that you want to divorce, there will no permission, we still have to be together. We should be in for it, we should be in for it for better, for worse. And that is my own submission. And I believe those of us who are progressive in northern Nigeria, the late Kolare Musa, Abubakar Umar, whom I've just spoken to some few minutes ago, and several of us, we will not wish to do in a country that is carved out. That's why we will say that let us fight a government that is bad, let's remove a government that is bad, and let's preserve the country.
But again, don't you think this government has made the agitation for Biafra, for Yoruba nation, most compelling? When people don't have a choice, what do you want them to do? You are powerless now to influence Buhari. He does not even talk. So nobody knows his state of mind. Nobody knows his plans. You know, all you get are media aides coming to talk to Nigerians. And it's like there's already a template. 1,000 people dies. Your president will not show his face. No empathy. Don't you feel worried that it will get to a stage where people can no longer take it?
Well, perhaps if I am in the other part of the country, I will think like that from your own part of the country. But as far as I am concerned here, two people, whether it's Nnamdi Kanu or Sunday Igboho, if you check their history, there used to be strong nationalists who believe in Nigeria. So we need to ask ourselves from at what point do such people started disbelieving in Nigeria, and then see the issues and see how we can address them. I believe that why the agitation to break this country has become more fierce and evident now is as a result of some of these factors. One is the pervasive level of insecurity in the country, where you have people that are being slaughtered and the government appears hopeless and helpless. People will say that the best way is to divorce. And secondly, the fact that the government has by itself erroneously acquired the image of being nepotistic in terms of tilting or inclining towards a section of the country, certainly that is a contributing factor. The next one has to do with the failure of governance and disconnect between the leaders and the people. So as far as I'm concerned, if you will have, if the Nigerians will unite and vote those they don't want out and have a government that will open the platform for dialogue, restructure this country and address these issues, those things will naturally fizzle out. So I'm still a believer in the unity of this country, and I believe those who want to secede, rather than fight them, we should continue to appeal to them to stay and let us get things worked out by working the government out and getting those who can bring this nation back to its unlost glory.
I'm happy you mentioned the word restructuring. What are the things, in your view, that should be restructured in Nigeria? You have been in the Senate, so I'm sure, yes.
Yeah, you see, if you ask 20 Nigerians what are their views about restructuring, if you ask 20 Nigerians what are their views about restructuring, they will give you 20 answers. 20 answers. Because we still have not articulated what we want as restructuring. And for example, if you said, let us start with the merger of states, will Rivers and Bayelsa merge? Will Kaduna and Kaduna will merge again? Will Ekiti
and Ondo
go back to where how many of the political leaders today who have become godfathers and demigods in their own narrow territories will agree to dissolve such a kingdom for a larger one? How many of them are going to do that? That's a question. And again, how do we achieve this? Because restructuring is something we need. If you don't restructure this country, we'll simply continue to be in crisis. But not just restructuring. The 36 governors of Nigeria, both north and south, are simply disagreeing to even give autonomy to the judiciary, disagreeing to give autonomy to local government, disagreeing to give autonomy to state house of assemblies. Then you ask me, if as simple as that, it has become so difficult for our political leaders to achieve or to implement, what becomes of the bigger picture, bigger steps that will be taken to restructure this country? So I believe that restructuring should be done in three phases. Political restructuring, which will now give every geopolitical zone the opportunity to produce a leader in this country. Economic restructuring, which will give every geopolitical zone the opportunity to harness the resources and contribute to the economy of the country. Social and cultural restructuring, whereby those parts of the country that want beer, they should not be able to take VAT from beer. Those parts of the country that do not eat cows should not allow open grazing in their own part of the country. So when you have political, social, and economic restructuring done in phases, but the point is that all these ideas have been articulated in various political and constitutional conferences in our history. We only need to bring out all those booklets that have been laid dust in our cupboards, bring them out and implement them in phases in order to solve this problem. When you have a structural problem, then the problem is not about the walls or the pegs, it's about the beams and the pillars. And once you have structural defects in the beams and the pillars, then a building is most likely to collapse. So restructuring is ensuring that those beams and pillars that are having issues are now redressed.
Now, it's very common to see members of armed forces either complaining publicly, recording videos, or even deserting the field of battle. And some people are saying it is wrong for you to go and bring a soldier from Katsina to come and operate in Imo State or Ebonyi or Enugu. Because one, he is a Nigerian who may also have imbibed the prejudices in Nigeria. How do you respond to the saying that now they should let us have state or regional security, regional defense, so that the people of a particular location will know how to handle the security problems in those places? Senator, we can't see you. And we've lost the audio as well. Okay, you are back now.
Hello?
Yes, I can see you now. I can see you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Please go on.
Well, the point is that if you... Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Regional security outfits are important in the sense that you now have local forces that are familiar with the terrain and that knows the environment they are operating in, and will make it easier for them to combat crime and also ensure law and order is respected and complied with. And that is the argument for state police. But our own experience for some of us is that if you look at the way our governors handle SICOM, which is State Independent Electoral Commission, contesting for local government election if you are not from the ruling party in the state is like a complete waste of time. The governor appoints the head of SICOM. SICOM is called independent, but it is almost like a parastatal of the state governor. They declare 100% victory for their members, and I believe that a police force that is a state police will be populated by supporters of the state governor, and sometimes even like becoming an armed wing of the ruling party in that very state. There are governors in this country, the way they run their states, you can imagine if they have in control of them a state police. I have a governor who is a friend of mine. When he was in office, he was an ardent supporter of state police. We argue with him many times. He would tell me, I need a police I can control to combat crime, to ensure restoration of law and order, all these things here. The last 1 year, I met with him in a train from Abuja to Kaduna. For 2 hours, we are discussing. He was being chased by the incumbent governor of his state. All they said is that if this man now has the control of the police, he will have finished him completely. So why do our governors want state police, but they don't want an independent judiciary? You want to control the security apparatus of the state, to arrest people, to restore order. Why are you not interested in having a judiciary and an independent legislature? So that you can see that anybody who posts or tweets anything critical of the state government in any state, you will be at the mercy of that state police. Now, that does not mean the federal police are not engaged in that. But every commissioner of police knows very well that in as much as he is a commissioner of police in a state, you can still petition his activities to the IG and the police commission that is outside of that state. So it restrains their capacity to inflict danger and to persecute people. But when you have some governors in this country in control of state police, you know that tyranny will be so unleashed to the point that you cannot say or do anything in that state without being a victim of their use of such state police against them. So as far as I'm concerned, I am in support of such a regional outfit that will address the problems of security. But we also need to be very careful about creating a tyranny in our states, because most of these police will move away from fighting criminals to fighting political elements, opposition in the states.
We cannot have the opportunity of speaking to you and not talk a little bit about religion, the role religion has played in the political debacle in Nigeria. When you talk about Sharia, could you explain to me, because it seems to some of us, especially in the South, that most of those who shout Sharia in the North only use it for the poor, the wealthy class, what I call members of the privileged, are never caught up in the Sharia law.
Well, you see, there has always been Sharia in Islam, because Sharia is the way of life of Muslims. For example, if a father passed on, or a husband, the Sharia has a tablet and template on how the inheritance will be shared. So you don't argue with it, you simply go to the template and share it as it is. But now, the most dangerous thing is the political Sharia, not the real Islamic Sharia itself, where now you use Sharia for your political ends, which involves capitalizing on the sensitivity of it in order to gather support or retain yourself in the position of power, or use it against political elements. So you will ask yourself, why are the Yoruba Muslims not fanatical about Sharia like the Hausa Muslims? Because it is perhaps not used for political purposes in the southwestern part of Nigeria, but it is used here. It is used by some people for their own political ends, and that is all. But for every Muslim, Sharia is his own way of life. Yes. So
now, do you agree that the presidential system of government that we've copied from America is too expensive? And if so, what should be the way forward? Because it seems we're practicing capitalism without capital.
Well, you see, our problem is that if you are talking of monarchy works in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, and Spain and Netherlands, they're all monarchies. And monarchies are working there, and UK.
Emirates.
They're all, yes, United Arab Emirates. Monarchy is working there. If you talk of a mixture of parliamentary and presidential democracy, like France, it's also working there. If you talk of pure presidential system of government, it's working in the United States, it's working in Argentina, it's working in Brazil. So the system may not actually be the problem, but ourselves. We will keep on practicing all the systems of this world as long as we have problems in ourselves. It's still not going to work. So as far as I'm concerned, since you situated the presidential system on the issue of cost and economy, I can say that there are a number of things that we need to do. One is we need to ask ourselves, because we are not living the reality of the situation we are in Nigeria today. Why do we need two arms of government and the National Assembly and House of Reps? Because the motions in the House of Reps is still the motions in the Senate. The difference between the Senate and the House of Reps is that Senate confirms appointment of Mr. President who disapprove of his appointments, and the House of Reps doesn't do that. Apart from that, whatever we do in the Senate, they also do it in the House of Reps. So we can cut that by having a unicameral assembly. And then secondly, why do we need 36 states as a nation? Why can't we are even finding it difficult to even live within ourselves. Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi, if you tell them to return to Sokoto state, it's a big problem. If you tell Kogi that they should disappear, some of them should go back to Bara, some to Benue state, there'll still be a problem. If you tell Ondo and Oyo, Ekiti, and Osun state to dissolve back to their former state, you still have problems. But we have to make sacrifices. The resources of this country cannot take the kind of political structures we have in the country. So cutting costs of governance is very important. And it appears that the government in power has been unable to achieve that. If we cut the cost of governance and try to address some of these issues in phases, I think we will be cutting our cost according to our resources.
Would you support a full secularity of Nigeria?
We are already, secularity is ambiguous when it comes to the issue of a multi-religious society, the nation, because we are a country of Muslims, of Christians, and of people who are atheists and traditional believers. And we can't have a state religion in Nigeria. And any attempt by anybody to do that will face a very, very serious war and battles, which will. So Nigeria is better off as a secular state than this multi-religious. Yes.
But a situation where a particular religion is mentioned so many times.
As a dynamic, they think they were the most followed, which is up there.
Then, can you please mute? Yes. Senator, I can't see you again. Okay, good. But a situation where a particular religion is mentioned so many times in a constitution, or the currency, the national currency has some Arabic words and things on it, don't you think that would be suggestive of a lack of secularity?
Well, for the Arabic that is in the Naira is we forgot to tell ourselves that Arabs were first of all Christians before they become Muslims, and that is simply an alphabet they use it. And people also, many thought that all Arabs are Muslims and all Jews are Christians, which is also wrong. There are more Christians among Arabs than there are among Jews, and they're among Muslims, the Jews, and they are Christians. So what you see, the alphabets are simply alphabets that will make it easier. But if it is controversial in that very sense, it will have been, it's not a religion. It's like you can write 50 naira in Hebrew. You can also write 50 naira in the Chinese alphabet. So that is it. But the issue of mention of one religion more than the other, I think that can be done through constitutional amendment. And what I tweeted just today, I've seen the National Assembly saying they are moving around the country to amend the constitution. And all the comments you have seen, I've seen under that
announcement.
Proposal, yes, was insult and abuses and indifference. You can't simply fold your arms and allow the politicians, because to write the constitutions for you when you are already opposed to the one written by the military. If you don't show interest in constitutional amendment, they are most likely to insert something which you may not like, or to remove something which you like, or to alter something which, at the end of the day, what is a constitutional amendment? After the amendment, it is being passed to House of Reps and House of and the Senate, and passed to all the 36 states of the Federation, and it becomes law. And that is it. And it becomes part of the constitution of the country. So we need to know what they are trying to amend, what they are trying to alter, and what they are trying to remove. So we can address that by ensuring that such issues of one religion being mentioned many times is clearly being addressed in the constitution of the country.
I am getting to the end of it in the next couple of minutes. But before you go, I know I've taken a lot of your time. You should be with your family at this time, resting and relaxing. The issue of zoning. Again, the conspiracy theory is that the North does not want to relinquish power. Do you think it would be fair for the North to retain power after Buhari?
Well, you see, if we are going to go by the rules of democracy, by population-wise, the North can continue to dominate the political space in the country for a very long time. But if you look at our history and our crisis and the need for equity, there is no other way to preserve this union, to also give confidence to all parts of the country that they actually belong to this union, than by rotating political power. We can't live in self-denial. Let all parts of the country produce the leader of Nigeria. And then if at the end of the day we say, okay, we have already circulated power everywhere, then we can decide to say we can do away with it. But unfortunately, after Shagari, we're supposed to have either an Alex Kwame or an Abiola, but that was disrupted. And then each time there is an attempt to transfer power, you see something coming. Obasanjo came and transferred power to the North, and Umaru died, and it went back to the South. And for Jonathan to contest again, it became a problem. So, as far as I'm concerned, I believe that we should entrench this in our constitution, and it will solve the problems of agitation for separation, if power will be allowed to rotate in all parts of the geopolitical zones in this country. And for now, after Buhari, power will be most appropriate to go down to the South, and it will be left for people of the South to decide where has been much excluded. And that, I believe, is going to be a problem for the people of the South as far as now is concerned.
Don't you think it's a fallacy to say the North can continue to dominate power perpetually? And I will tell you my view. I've written about it before, In Search of Mathematicians. The mathematics of politics and power in Nigeria, to me, suggests that the only way the North can dominate is if the South allows it to dominate. It is impossible for you to win the presidential election if you don't lock down 4 out of 6 regions in the country. As popular as Buhari was, Buhari could not win until he was able to cross to the southwest, get some support in the south. So if the southern leaders choose to be vice presidents perpetually, then that will be possible. But where the south can work together and get into the north central, it will be almost impossible for the north to dominate power perpetually. Do you agree?
Well, let me tell you this. The only way for power to move south, first of all, you must have the unity of the people of the south. And we must accept the fact that there are 2 dominant political parties. If one party decided to shift power to the south and the other refused to shift power to the south and put it in the north, it's going to be difficult for that power to move to the south. If you look at the demography of Nigeria and the apathy of voters in the south and the fanaticisms of voters in the north, a typical woman from Zamfara or Kano is prepared to spend the whole night on the queue to vote. And how is that feasible in some parts of Nigeria? But if we're going to preserve this country, the South, first of all, have to make a collective demand through their political parties and say power should shift. If the elements in APC said power should shift to the South, they should not just speak in Delta. They should, when they are in Villa, they should also say it. Because if you go to Delta and make a resolution, and then you go to Villa and see Buhari, when you are coming out and the media stops you for an interview, and then you started turning things, speaking from both sides of the mouth, you know nobody is going to take you seriously. So we can have a rotation of power when the 2 political parties have agreed that power should move to that section of country. But where you are going to have a candidate from the north and one candidate from the south, that cannot be achieved.
So you are saying the 2 mainstream political parties must be compelled to shift to the south?
Of course. And must be compelled by the elements who are heading those parties. And the problem will be not those who are agitating for the power to the south, but those who are ready to settle for the vice president position. And
there are plenty. And there are plenty
in the south. So those vice presidential mentality of the people in that part of the south will be the greatest obstacle to the rotation of power. Thank you.
Well, finally, we would end it with the economy. It's important that we discuss the economy of Nigeria, because part of the problem now is that Nigeria is broke. Nigeria has over-borrowed money, and we're wasting it. You are doing a red line now to Niger Republic. You are doing all sort of crazy things all over the places. What's your attitude to the way the economy is being managed at the moment, and what do you think should be done?
Well, I sometimes ask myself, because I knew that over a year ago an economic team was established by the president, and I wonder where they are now, because nothing much has been heard of them. And you even ask yourself whether there is any economic direction for this administration at all. We are simply borrowing from Scoop, borrowing from Saudi Arabia, borrowing from Brazil, borrowing from World Bank, Islamic Development Bank, borrowing from China. This is all we have been doing. And we are still doing what we said we will not do, that is over dependence on oil revenue. Look at our debt. It has climbed to such an astronomical level. And look at our foreign reserve. It's still within 30, 32, 33, moving down south. So as far as I'm concerned, the kind of economic team you used to have under Obasanjo's administration, or Yaradua, is virtually absent as far as this government is concerned. And if you can see that those previous administration, they have superstars in the rank of people they can call professionals. But here, it's more of a government of loyalists. And when it is about loyalty, you can see so many things will be sacrificed because somebody's loyal. And I don't see, we wanted to have a president who will appoint people without minding where they come from, appoint people without minding their political party. At the last part of his life and last part of his opportunity to lead this country, he should be a father figure to all Nigerians. Bring everyone on board for the sake of Nigeria, to save this country and to prosper this country.
Wow. Thank you, Senator Shehu Sani. I cannot thank you enough for this opportunity. I would request my brother, my friend, Dr. Ruben Abati, to please come in and give us a summary of this interaction. Thank you, Senator. Thank you so much. And my regards to your family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Ruben Abati.
Okay, Dele Momodu, I'd like to join you in congratulating Senator Shehu Sani. He has not disappointed at all. And he has helped to extend the frontiers of the conversation. New issues have come up today, and I want to congratulate you as the host, how you manage in a very dexterous manner to open new vistas of the conversation. Since this conversation started 3 days ago, this is the first time we'll have somebody who will go directly into the issue of the presidency of President Buhari in terms of expectations at a personal level, at political leadership level. You had asked him, and that was an important question, that why did he decide to join the CPC? And that's the the Congress of Progressive Party or whatever, which was the party of the president. And he said it was a pragmatic decision, because at the time that he did, when he moved from the Alliance Democracy to the CPC, it was what his constituency wanted. And in any case, maybe perhaps that's what motivates politicians. But you then asked him, what accounts for President Buhari's popularity in the North? And he has said, in some way, President Buhari replaced the Aminu Kano myth. He became the champion of the Tala Towers, particularly when he chose to defend and support the Sharia system. And also he was seen as somebody who was very honest, and that in that regard, you know, the people thought this was a very honest man. And himself was also seen as an uncompromising figure, and a man, you know, who led the interests of the poor people of the North. There is some total of Senator Shehu Sani's submission, is that although President Buhari got the support of the ordinary people of the North and also the Southwest particularly, without which he could not have won the election, that he thinks that President Buhari has lost touch in terms of being the champion of the poor, and that although his popularity was at the level of worship, and so much that criticizing him in the North was considered sacrilegious. But the moment he got into power, President Buhari has emerged as a different man, and as a result of that, the fanaticism with which he came to power in the northern part of the country has vanished, has faded off. Well, it's not only in the north, in other parts of the country also that has happened. And he thinks that President Buhari is overwhelmed, and that whatever devils that he fought are the same devils that have taken over his government, and that the president of Nigeria is confronted with contradictions that he has not been able to deal with, and that the principal contradiction will seem to be in the area of the security challenges. He also thinks that the president, who came across as a messiah, as a magician, is no longer the magician or the messiah that people in the north and other parts of the country think that it was. I mean, this is the very first time that we will have this week somebody who would take on the president frontally. He even went as far as accusing the president of Nigeria of the failure of governance and of disconnection with the people, and also of nepotism. So we have, this contribution from Malam Comrade Shehu Sani. You also asked him something about insecurity, and he thinks that that's the biggest problem that we have now. And that Boko Haram is part of a bigger organization, is part of a bigger international problem, and that the obligation of government is to deal with this. Well, following up on that, Dele Momodu, you asked him what gives him the confidence to speak in that manner. And he made the point that, anybody that criticizes government these days is accused of looking for contract, is accused of having lost an election, or that, you don't think that the government of the day is taking you along. And he defined his own commitment in that direction. He said his commitment is to speak truth to power, and that this is not the first time that he's been speaking truth to power. So the courage to speak, he thinks, is part of the way of, dealing with a challenge of a president, who in his view has become, a different person. You asked him also about this whole argument about self-determination. Why is it that the APC has refused to interact or interface with the people of Nigeria? And why should the government and the ruling party be concerned about people who just want to go? But he says he does not believe in secession. He does not believe in a smaller Nigeria. And we have had persons on this program, 2 of them at least, who say that they don't want Nigeria to be dismembered. He says he believes in the unity of Nigeria, and also he's a Pan-Africanist. He believes in the unity of Africa beyond colonial boundaries. But the question, the relevant question, is that if people are talking about divorce, he says he is opposed to it. People are asking for divorce because they are not happy that the marriage is working. That same point about marriage metaphor came up yesterday when Olusegun SAN was quoting the late Chief Bola Ige, and Senator Shehu Sani extended it. He said, look, if you check very carefully, you will see that Sunday Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu, they used to be strong supporters of Nigeria. So at what point did they change? At what point did others like them change? It's because of nepotism. It's because of insecurity. It's because of the failure of governance. And he, as a Senator Comrade, says he believes in the future of this country because he does not want to lose his friends. He does not want to lose people like you, Dele, Momodu, and others. And that he thinks that the issue is not about the national flag, fundamentally. It is about justice. So how do we achieve justice in this country? He had a number of recommendations. One of it was when you asked him about the not dominating power perpetually, he said no. The unity of the people of the South is important in that regard. If the people of the South want power, if they want to shift, then of course there must be a collective decision in terms of power shift rather than slogans. He also talked about a unicameral legislation because we're running a government that is over-bloated. He talked about 36 days. Well, why don't we cut the cost of governance? And how do we achieve that? This is the kind of conversation that he wants to see. He also argues that Nigeria is a secular state and that is better off as a secular state. Then he argues that, look, let every part of Nigeria produce the leader of Nigeria, and that he has no objections about power going to the southern part of the country. You ask him about the Ajami, which is the Arabic in the Naira, and he says, well, it's just an alphabet of expression. I don't know whether many people will agree with him in that regard, because there are many Nigerians who think there are too many symbols of northern extraction and Islamic extraction, dominating the Nigerian space. Then restructuring was another big issue that he addressed, and that's this conversation. And he talked specifically, he deconstructed it. Yesterday, Lisa Agbakoba STN was saying, look, this thing about restructuring, it means just about anything. People have reduced it to the level of a cliche, although he talked about technical devolution of powers, justice, equity, and all of that. But today, we have had Comrade Shehu Sani breaking it down for us in terms of political restructuring, economic restructuring, and what he called socio-cultural restructuring, which will have to be done in phases. And that the implementation of that restructuring is the beams and the pillars that we need, and that restructuring along the lines of beams and pillars, will be the way to make the country work. Well, he also talked about Biafra and secession, and he thinks that many Nigerians, either from the southeast or the north or the southwest, will not talk about secession if there is justice in this country. So for me, these are some of the big takeaways, and as I have said, we can continue to have a conversation around this. He talked about how the people of the Southwest stood against their own. And now in Nigeria, there should be a sense of objectivity. He cited the example of the 1993 process, and I think that that's one major takeaway. All the people are saying, oh, my brother must be there, my region must produce the president. Comrade Shehu Sani raised the point that, look, you can have a man from your region who will still fail you. Where rights are concerned, what is important is that every Nigerian must stand up to defend their rights. And that should not be surprising, coming from a man who has devoted his entire career and life to the defense of human rights, civil liberties, justice, without looking at the color of your heritage or where you come from. So finally, I'd like to congratulate Senator Comrade Shehu Sani, although I would have loved Dele Momodu to ask him about his political future. He left the APC when he could not return as the senator for Kaduna Central. He's gone back to the Aminu Kano Food, the PRP. What is the future for him? Where is he going next? If his people tell him to join the PDP, will he do so? If they compel him, as they said, as he made clear that he's a pragmatist, will he join perhaps the APC back? Because in Nigerian politics, we see people going this way, going that way. What decision has he taken in that regard? But I guess that should be a takeaway for him, as we have taken away many things from him. We want to thank you, Comrade Senator Shehu Sani, for your contributions. Over to you, Bashir Dele Momodu. As we prepare for what will happen tomorrow, I hope you will tell us what will happen tomorrow. I know there is no conversation session tomorrow. So what is it? Are we having a virtual party? Or opening up all the bars?
No, I flew into I flew into Lagos this morning from Accra just to join my wife and two of my children who are presently at home. My first son and my last son are in England, but the other two, my second and the third, they are home. So I'm sure at midnight we would pray, we would thank God for adding 1 year. I look forward to this year with very, very keen interest. Is it because the average lifespan of a Nigerian is actually under 60. So if you're able to cross 60, you should thank God. We're not going to have a party. We didn't have a party last year, though we had a Zoom event. This time we're just going to be at home. If you are at Arise and you can drive down 5 minutes away, we can have chicken and rice at home. You're a member of the family. But formally, nothing. We're doing nothing. I'm sure friends will drop by as always. I've always been a man of the people, you know, and I have very, very good friends. I'm lucky to have very good friends. So a few people might drop by and then we just have some rice and chicken. That will be it. But I'm happy. I can tell you that I'm very, very happy that I've been able to host these 4 interviews. Professor Banji Akintoye, Mr. Femi Falana SAN, Dr. Lisa Agbakoba SAN, and now Senator Shehu Sani. I mean, I couldn't have asked for, you know, better people. I mean, I'm so impressed that Senator Shehu Sani could speak so openly, so boldly, and so objectively. It's always earned my respect, and I can say tonight he has consolidated it, and I want to thank him, you know, very sincerely, and I wish him and his beautiful family a great weekend. Dr. Abati, PhD, thank you always. I'll be calling on you. Quite a number of people, actually very distinguished Nigerians, have told me that I should not stop these sessions, that they believe I have the capacity to attract the right caliber of people to speak on this platform. So we'll reach out to more people, and I hope when I call you, you will answer me as always. Thank you. May God be with you and your family. Thank you. And to my viewers on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Zoom, and on YouTube, I want to say thank you for always joining us. God be with you all. And please pray for me and my family. In the next couple of hours by midnight Nigerian time, I'll be 61, and I'm very, very grateful to God Almighty. Thank you and good night. Mr. Ben Osei, my man from Ovation Television, Ovation International Television, thank you so much. Mandy Oriyomi Balogun, how are you? Thank you so much. Thank you. So Benjamin Osei is that young man from Ghana who has been coordinating all this. He's a genius, and I love him so much. I've had to excuse him from work so that we could concentrate on this series, and he's done very, very well. I'm sure the editor of Ovation International, Mr. Michael Effiong James, should be somewhere watching. Thank you so much. We are actually producing the Boss newspapers, which is one of our products at the Ovation Media Group, and all these interviews, we are going to delay the production of the Boss. This will normally come out on Saturdays, but I think we're going to delay it till tomorrow so that we could also include Senator Shehu Sani. It will not be complete without having him in it, and then we will circulate it, and that'll be it for now. So good night, everybody. God bless you. Thank you.
Happy birthday in advance.
Oh, thank you.
All the best, sir.
Oh, we appreciate you. Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday to Dele, Momodu'S.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Chief.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you all. Oh, thank you. Dr. Olukemi Bero, how are you? Thank you. Ben, let's listen to some messages, please. Oh, Dame, you are here. Thank you, Dame. Madam Glow, continue to glow like Globacom.
Happy birthday, Chief.
Oh, thank you so much.
Question.
Yes, please.
I'm calling from Canada, by the way.
Okay.
Lord, I just wanted to know, is it possible that any of these videos will be heard on any of the mainstream videos, any of the mainstream media?
Well, I don't know. We will try to speak to our friends. I don't know if they will be interested, but definitely you are going to have it on YouTube. It's going to be saved on Facebook. It's going to be saved on Instagram. So it's as good as mainstream media. I mean, and it's even easier this way because then you can watch it from your phone from any part of the world.
Well, that's correct.
Yes, thank you.
I was just thinking it's going to reach a wider audience. I mean,
there is nothing wider than social media platforms right now. How many people sit down at home? I have a television in this office. I can't remember the last time I put it on. You won't believe it. No. And we're flying all the time. But now, even on the flight, that you have internet connection and you can watch even on your flights, on some flights. So I promise you that it's going to circulate, and that's why we're also transcribing it. All the 3 interviews we did, we have already transcribed. They are ready. So and immediately now I'm going to speak to the editor at the Pulse newspapers that we must get this one ready so that by tomorrow we can release a bumper issue, and it's online so anybody can have access to it, and it's free of charge. You are not paying for it. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I want to say congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I'm speaking to you from the United States of America.
Wow.
And I may not be there to pray with you in the family circle, so I quickly want to use this opportunity to pray. I'm Apostle Isaac Olaneye from Arkansas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Special grace of God. I pray for you long life.
Amen.
Grace to impact your generation.
Amen.
In the name of Jesus.
Amen.
What you are doing at this time is what we need, because we need people that will continue to inspire us towards the new generation. And
Amen.
God will continue to give you strength.
Amen.
From grace to grace. In the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Over you and your entire family.
Amen.
Jesus and the power of the Holy Ghost for double security.
Amen.
In the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. My regards to your family. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yes, it's Tunji. I've been trying to interview you for a long time now. I've messaged you on Instagram and Facebook, I think, but no reply.
Which platform is it, please?
It's Tunji. I call my show the Tunji Official Show. I also have a blog. I sent you the blog as well.
Sorry, if I open my phone to you, you will not believe.
Yeah,
I have thousands and thousands of messages, and in fact, one of my favorite numbers has been violated because all the different groups are on it, and they are just bombarding the phone with messages. So I'm not likely to see most of those messages, but maybe if you send me a message immediately after this by am I following you on Instagram or Facebook?
No. I think you've got too many people anyway.
What of Twitter? If you can follow me, you can send me a DM on Twitter. That'll be fine. What's your Twitter handle? What's your Twitter handle, so that if I'm not following you, I can follow you, then you'll be able to.
Yes, my Twitter handle is Tunji Ofei, TUNJI.
Yes.
OFFEYI.
Okay. Tunji Ofei. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'll follow you once I log out of this, and then so you'll be able to send me a message, and then we can discuss. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, is there anyone else there that Mazi?
I greet you, sir.
How are you, sir? How are you? EJJ Media.
I'm glad, following your footsteps. I'm glad to always be here. And I must note, like the other person that said if this could be shared on mainstream, I want to say there is not. I mean, what you're doing on the social media space, I don't think any mainstream can actually compete with it. And I will say the person now that while you were talking on our platform already, about the 1,380 were watching simultaneously. So I don't know how many people, these are people that were live. People will still watch that afterwards. So you, an inspiration, and I will say, may the good Lord bless you and give you good health,
Amen.
sound health, and more wisdom. Thank you very much for all you do. And there is an adage in our place that says, which means when you crack the palm kernel on a stone, if you, the cracker, doesn't count, the stone counts for you. So whatever you do, don't take it for granted. People appreciate you, and people really, indeed, appreciate you. For the last 3 or 4 days, I've been coming in, just, dedicatedly just sit down, listen. And, to say that one hasn't learned a lot, it must be a fluke. And that's, my own little way of saying thank you once more for all you do. Much appreciated.
No, I want to thank you, Mazi. Even this evening, your name cropped up because I got a call from Johannesburg. I'm sure they would have contacted you by now. Our mutual friend, Ngozi, gave them now, and they said they wanted us to participate in the World Igbo Congress Summit this year. So you and I, so they need our platforms to be able to coordinate things for them. So I've told them, I already told them yes, and I'm sure you won't say no to them as well.
No,
so,
anything that push out the message there, it's,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And when I'm in London, as I said, I would give you a shout, and then we can meet up.
Yeah, sure. And one more thing, I think on my handle, I know you promised someone on Twitter. So for your birthday, if you follow me back, that would be nice. I appreciate that. Maz says okay.
No problem. I'm even surprised that I'm not following you already. Yeah, I'm surprised. But I promise I will do that right away. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if we're done.
Yeah, we are done.
Okay.
For you to follow me on Twitter.
Okay, I'll definitely follow you now once I log out of the platform. Okay. Ben, is anybody remaining, or we're all done? Ben. Hello.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wish you many more in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much.
The Lord increase you in wisdom and knowledge.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
I wish my daughter want to sing for you. She promised to sing for you. She's sleeping right now.
Oh, she's sleeping. My love to her. Thank you so much. Please give her my regards. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. Thank you. And good night.
Chief, sorry, some other question comes to mind.
Yes.
I'm also thinking, other than these very important people you've had in the last 1 week in your interview sessions, are you also thinking of interviewing people who are active in government currently? Maybe the messages or the feelings of the people that we get to hear in these your interview sessions could get closer to government in one way or the other when you have such people interviewed as well, and you ask them these hard questions that you ask some of these people you have in your sessions. Are you thinking about that as well?
Oh, actually, I've been interviewing people in government in the last 1 year. I actually started, the first interview was the chairman of the Governors Forum, Dr. Kayode Fayemi. He was the very first person I interviewed. And they're all available on our social media platform, especially on YouTube, so anyone can go back. I've interviewed Mr. Babatunde Raje Fashola, the Minister of Works, and I even interviewed Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, from Washington D.C. As well. I've interviewed the governor of Ekiti State, who is actually very, very active in these issues right now because of the herdsmen crisis, you know, Arakuni Rotimi Akeredolu. So we've been talking to people. I've interviewed former governor, Mr. Peter Obi. So the conversation continues, definitely. We're not going to stop. I'm actually very encouraged by what I've seen in the last 4 days. So we shall continue.
I must really commend you. I mean, I don't miss any of your sessions. I always, because I feel it's easy to get schooled.
Oh, wow.
You learn it. Yeah, so I'm really happy we have people like you. And if we could have more people having this same mindset, wanting to bring all of us together, because this actually helps in one way or the other and enlightening people on what we should have, or the kind of mindset we should have as a nation. And so
we talked to everybody. I interviewed Mazin Namdekanu. I think that has been the most explosive interview ever. I've interviewed Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igbo from Ibadan, you know. So I've interviewed the Yoruba Generalissimo, the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò Ìbà Gani Adams, you know. So we've had some very robust conversations on these platforms, and as I said, we will continue to do it because we must avert war by all means. If we must separate, let us go our different ways peacefully. And if we must live together, let us live peacefully. Whatever Nigerians decide, I mean, that's fine by me. As Dr. Lisa Gbakoba SAN said yesterday, it is someone who has not seen war before. At age 13, 14, he was already carrying guns, carrying weapons, and, you know, eating snakes and all kinds of things in the bush of Biafra at the time. So if you can avert this war, why not? You know, that does not mean that those who are agitating to go cannot go. After all, as I mentioned in one of the interviews, I remember the Brexit in London. Some of us felt, oh, it's better for England to be part of Europe. And then when people voted and said no, they are not interested, so be it. It was painful to a lot of people, but then the voice of the people is the voice of God. If majority of Nigerians agree that they are tired of themselves, tomorrow, who knows? It might even be the Fulanis who say, even the noise from the south is too much, we're tired, we too were going. So it means that we can have amicable dissolution of the marriage. There are times you go to court, you know, for a divorce, and just on account of incompatibility or separation, the husband and wife, they've not lived together for over 2 years. So the judge will just grant your request immediately that the husband and wife that have not lived together for 2 years cannot claim to be in that marriage. So we don't know what will happen. So I have an open mind to every side of the conversation, and we shall see what will happen. Thank you.
Dr. Momodu, are you able to bring back Donald Duke at some point?
Am I able to bring back Donald Duke?
At some point, yes.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Is one of the closest friends I have in politics. I respect him so much. In fact, he calls me his campaign manager. Go everywhere. I say, how can you have a Donald Duke? And then we will have the caliber of people we have now, you know, at the top in Nigeria. So that is part of the contradictions of our country.
That's my favorite interview of yours, and the one with Joel Taylor. I like those two.
Okay. Oh, wow. The Vice President of Liberia, yes. We were together in Ghana a few days ago. I hosted her in Ghana a few days ago. She was around, and yes. Africa, we have talents in Africa, but unfortunately, I think there is a jinx that makes it almost impossible for us to get things right. You know, look, imagine a man like Buhari that everybody felt was a poor man, would be a friend of the poor, would not waste resources, and then now, amidst this crisis, we're doing red line to Madi in Niger Republic. You know, so how do you explain? But they will tell you, oh, he knows what he's doing. No problem. I mean, he's the one there, so we'll see what happens in the next 2 years. Oh wow, they're already singing happy birthday song. It's still about 2 hours away. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I would like to sign out on this note. Thank you so much.